Hi, I'm Talya, and this is Victoria.
Hi!
And we are two Tweedledums thinking about our recent high school experience, uni apps, and life ahead of college. We're recent IB survivors, and we want you to survive it too.
So for today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to prepare to go to university in a pandemic. And the reason being is, there must be some differences between preparing to go in the pandemic and not. And we hope that the pandemic doesn't continue, but at least for the
get vaccinated
level right below us, they will still feel that sense of, having to prepare applications from home learning, and with this hybrid learning that may be coming up, there's just so many adjustments that are to be made in such an uncertain time. And so we figured that we would give you some of our tips and tricks and experiences.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to start off by talking about before you actually get accepted into uni. And I guess first of all, it's kind of researching unis, and what's different, I suppose, about researching unis before and during a pandemic is that during a pandemic you obviously cannot visit the universities, as in maybe if you live in the area you can walk on the school grounds, etc. I don't necessarily know, but since we are going abroad, we couldn't actually travel to, for Victoria, the US, and for me, the UK, to survey the schools in person. And it does give a different sort of experience, provided for a different experience, because you can't actually feel the atmosphere of the area, you can only imagine it.
Yes.
And I think an important way in which I tried to supplement that research of the atmosphere is by talking to the people that represent the uni, because the people are a big part of the atmosphere, and for me the vibe is very important, as I'm sure you know by now. So it was important for me to talk to the people that would be teaching me one day, or potentially teaching me, as well as some students that go there, because I think it helps you better understand the sense of community in that place, and that's something that's going to be very important, especially when you're going to be far away from your family, from the things that you know, from the friends that you're used to having around you.
And of course, when you're at home and you feel like, oh my gosh, how am I going to navigate this? Actually, something good that came out of the pandemic is how all those universities have gone online in their presentations.
Yes, thank you.
Because, before that, for university fairs, sometimes the people that do come and present, they have to present to so many people, and they're just moving around.
And they're not experts in all the subjects, whereas usually when you apply for a particular subject, at least for me, I'm only meeting with that faculty. Which means it's very specific, and I actually will probably have those teachers if I choose to go to that uni.
I guess for the US, in Indonesia especially, there are lots of those university fairs where those universities come in. But for me, because I was interested in some of those other skills,
Other? What do you mean by other?
Like Yale. And it would...
Don't be ashamed of it, Victoria.
Like Yale.
Yeah.
So it was hard to find admissions officers who'd be visiting Indonesia. And I totally understand, usually they would be visiting other more international cities like Singapore or something. But with the whole online situation, they would hold online
it's more accessible, I suppose,
it's
to a wider range
and
of
it's
people.
free. You just need to sign up, and so many people can join it from wherever you are. And you can easily ask them questions. And from my experience, because I went to quite a lot, they're not usually, I guess from the ones I did go to, the ones who are presenting are not just the admissions officer, but also a current student. So
that's good.
It was nice to see not just, the marketing person saying, oh, Yale is wonderful, but it's also you get to see from a student who goes there sure, at least for Yale, they are still holding those online presentations. I'm guessing other schools and even the UK, most likely, they're also doing
Probably.
that too. Do attend them because you get lots of, I guess, more detailed knowledge rather than just reading on the website, and they can clarify things. Like last year, I remember some people were really confused about the SAT optional thing, and when they clarified it, so does that mean if I apply with my SATs, will I be a better candidate? And so the admissions officer could clarify, no, it's just, if you have it, that's great. If you don't, that's also fine too.
Right.
So those clarifications that is hard to find on a very dry screen.
And I guess what's nice about things being online as well, like we're looking at the positives now, is that there are breakout rooms.
Oh yeah.
And so the students aren't always there with, let's say, a member of faculty or, you know, a professor, anyone representing the school from that sort of side. So you get a more raw and real review of the school, because there were times where I found myself in a breakout room with just students. So I guess there wasn't that sort of sense that you had to say something in particular in accordance with the school's policy or whatever like that. You know what I mean? So you got that sort of better understanding of the community, I think. Yeah, so I guess that's the benefit of it being online. But again, there's, of course, you don't get to see all the facilities in person or imagine the size of, let's say, a theater or very specific aspects like that. You don't get the sort of spatial awareness from being online. And of course,
even with virtual reality, it's different.
It's different. And you can't, even like things like that are as small as, let's say, the smell of the place. You know, that's something like that seems so small and so insignificant, but really it will remind you of that place. Does that bring you comfort? Yeah. So of course there are positives and negatives, but I think it's important to have some faith in your initial reaction to something.
Yeah, take advantage of the fact that things are online and accessible, because like before this, I would say like visiting the schools overseas wasn't really an option to every single person.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So now everything is so accessible. You can literally just attend one and like at 9 p.m. every night if you want, you know? As long as you register, and you'll get lots of info. It's very useful.
Actually, now that you mentioned time, maybe a downside to it is that because, let's say for us, it's in the US, UK, sometimes I stayed up until 2 at these open days or something, especially the one where I had an interview, and so it was a more 7-hour long kind of thing. So I stayed up until 1 or 2, and so my focus wasn't very great. And so I think just being mindful of, you know, resting before it as much as possible, except for the fact that I had a full day of school before and lessons, etc. So I was very exhausted on that day. So I guess that's kind of a negative, because you don't really get to enjoy that sort of experience as much as you might have enjoyed it if you were there in person at a normal sort of time.
But I mean,
but it's fine. It's part of the process.
Yeah, and you know, I guess like moving on from that, as you're preparing your application after you've kind of, you know, attended these presentations and open days, you know, there's a lot more dependence on you taking initiative. With things being online. Because I think I remember when we're at school and I would meet my university counselor at school, it was just easy to just pop into her room and pester her as is. And like, even though I had ideas, she could kind of chase me down a bit, right? But at home,
there was kind of that you couldn't really make excuses for yourself because the office was right there. Whereas when you're at home, you kind of can say, oh, I'll text her, contact her in 2 hours, and then you forget because you're doing something else.
And I noticed even from like talking to some other people, some friends, online, it seemed like even though the deadlines for the list of universities you're applying to and all that were pretty generous. Like, I think the first deadline was the end of August to give the counselor our list of unis.
Oh yeah, I definitely did not listen to stuff like that.
Yeah, like, it's just hard
It's
to
fine.
keep track. It's fine, but like, it's kind of not, you know, because once again, I think with this whole online situation, everything depends on you. So if you want to go to uni, you gotta put more work into it.
I guess for, like, we use Xiaofo.
Oh yeah.
That was
useful.
maybe more beneficial for the American application, because for me, I didn't really need it for my UCAS, except for the fact that it's just easier for the counselor to track me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then it didn't really matter, like, the earlier deadlines.
Yeah.
But like, I guess now in terms of putting in results, things like that might matter. But at that stage, I was fine being behind, and no one really chased me or reprimanded me after.
Yeah, so it really depends on you, and like, you really need to manage your time quite well. So, because I remember for me personally, I was already working on my essays during the summer and like soul searching, because you have to do that with the US. And so, you know, it was nice that by the start of the year, I could already give some of my essays to my counselor to edit and get feedback, or like my English teacher. And so it was a nice head start compared to some people who were still scrambling. So I think it really depends on you and your way of working. Some people like to do it a bit more last minute, which is fine. And there are some people like me who just can't do things last minute. So
yeah, I'm a mixture of both. Yeah, because I think in terms of uni applications, I thought I would be last minute, but I wasn't, because I worked on it with my tutor, and so that helped keep me on track, and I just wanted to be done with it before the second semester, so I submitted it in early December. Yeah, but also, I guess universities, you have to also be mindful that they are a bit more understanding and empathetic this year, I guess, because they did extend the UCAS deadline.
Oh right.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't use it, but they did.
Yeah,
so
the US,
yeah, it's okay. So don't feel super discouraged if, like, we never know. Next year might be a similar situation to this with uni applications, and still, like, of course things are starting to open up, but we never know.
In Indonesia, people are still online, so don't be afraid.
Don't fret.
Don't fret. And like, once you submit your application, you're done.
You are.
Focus on your exams and other stuff. Like, especially for me, because I applied early, like in November, for the US, and so afterwards I could just focus on my exams very nicely. Basically, you know, just power through it. You know, you'll be fine. Just be willing to take initiative for yourself, and if you need help, ask your counselor.
I think the thought of it is scarier than actually doing it.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I guess for me, because like I got lots of guidance from my counselor, because I really was just like lost. I don't know, did you ask her for lots of input?
Only after I gave her my first draft of my application.
Oh, okay. I was just pestering her the whole
No.
semester. And so it's fine to pester. And I think, of course, you want to be mindful of yourself to make sure that, you know, is this advice applicable to me or not? But for me personally, I just followed everything my counselor said, and it worked out nicely.
It did, didn't it?
It did. Thank you. But that is just how it is. So I guess moving on, before getting accepted into uni, the process of researching and preparing your application really depends on you. Because everything is kind of there online. It's easy, it's accessible. It just depends on you. So now, after like, you know, waiting, I'm like,
you go into your dream uni.
Or you didn't.
Or you didn't. But that's fine.
But
You're still going to uni, maybe.
So I guess like we're not really good at like talking about, you know, getting rejections, because we got accepted in schools that we wanted to.
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry guys.
Sorry. So we can't talk about that, like, you know, how to handle rejection, you know, because because we're quite happy where we are. But I mean, I know there are some people who got rejected, and some are contemplating like a gap year to apply again when they're at a more stable spot, I guess, and they can just focus on the application and not do 1,000 other things like school, CAS, everything. So that's fine too. But at the end of the day, this is a challenging time. There are some people who succeed big time, and there are some people who fail big time, and there are some people who kind of got I guess it's okay.
But failing isn't all bad, guys.
It's
like,
a good experience.
I don't even like to label something as a failure, really, because you can learn so much. That's how you learn from your mistakes.
Exactly.
So don't feel discouraged, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah. So, okay, I guess that sounds it sounds fake, but really, we sincerely mean this.
Yes.
And so let's just talk about like after we got accepted into the uni of our dreams.
Yeah.
What did we have to do after that? What did you have to do?
For me, it's different in the UK, I guess, because you have a firm and insurance choice, and I got all of my responses from the unis were conditional, so you have to make a certain grade. But obviously, even though I'm pretty safe and I should get into my dream uni in terms of my grades, you never know from the IB yet because the grades haven't come out. But so basically you kind of treat the situation like you're going to the uni you put as your firm choice, especially if you've been pretty safe in terms of the grades thus far. And so what I did after that, kind of left it alone for a few months because of school, and I didn't feel the need to rush. But after I graduated, I actually applied for housing at Warwick. And it's kind of odd, the system there. I was rather surprised, I would say, because it's kind of random allocation. It's like, I thought you would have a top 3 or something, and then they would choose, and you could choose any of the ones you want. But apparently, you can choose 3 with ensuite, and then you can choose 3, you have to choose 3 that are shared bathrooms. Which is, sorry, but I can't handle that. And so then you kind of give explanations of when you wake up, blah, blah, blah. And then, I don't know, I got the impression that they kind of just randomly select, but then they're asking me questions, so I also have the impression that they're selecting based on your answers or your preferences. Because,
I guess that's similar to me, because
but then I didn't expect you had to put 6 options.
That's odd. Okay, they did give me options. They just asked me an intrusive list of my habits of do I sleep late, or do I wake up early, or what sort of music do I listen to? Do I want my suite to be one that's very casual that people can hang out with, or some place?
Okay, mine wasn't that in depth because you're already kind of making the choice.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel a bit iffy. I'm just hoping and praying that I get, I know it sounds bougie, but I kind of just want to be alone and not, because it takes me a long time to get ready, so I don't want to have to wait for other people or then take a long time and other people can't get ready.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a burden to anyone.
That's true.
Yes.
So housing, after you get into uni, some of the things, there's so many forms that you have to do, one of them being housing. And the thing is, when you get accepted, you're well, who done? But no, you have to do so much more things.
Yeah, I can't really talk about what happens when you're officially unconditionally accepted because I'm not there yet.
But generally.
Yeah, what do you do?
Forms. Well, for me,
what other forms other than housing?
Other than housing, I had to fill out for the US, generally there's some sort of enrollment deposit, or at least if not an enrollment deposit, some sort of contract that you need to sign, saying yes, I will pay, you know, and you just need to get your email set up and everything set up, the infrastructure.
Oh my goodness.
You know,
again.
But yeah, that's just how it works, and it's just annoying because there's so much stuff to do, and because I'm online, so sometimes I need to email the people over there, hey, I'm having trouble with this or something. So just because you got accepted doesn't mean the work is over.
True.
Okay. And I guess other than,
I suppose I'll have to do that too. That seems like something that will be that way across the board.
Exactly. And of course, other than those forms, the nice thing about after getting accepted is you get to network with the other people who got accepted with you. So for me personally, in the US, as I hear from most of my friends, usually you would be invited to some sort of Facebook group with like the rest of the people who got accepted, and the admissions officers would like approve you or not. And it could be Facebook, or it could be like, you know, those Instagram pages like Yale 2025 or something. And you get to like, you know, see people post their bios and like introduce themselves, blah blah. And like, of course, like it seems kind of like, you know, you're showing off, but like it's a really nice way to get to know the other people in your cohort, what their interests are, what they're planning on majoring in, and I don't know, even like random things like, you know, what their hobbies are. So especially because everything is online, it's kind of nice to be able to make friends early on, so that when you're on campus you don't feel lost.
Right.
Because especially in my case, where like I've never been to the US, so I'm like, oh my god.
You haven't?
I haven't!
I didn't know that.
I've only been to Europe because like my...
Wow,
because
I am shooken.
I know, exactly. So it's like...
How did I not know that?
I don't know.
I
guess,
don't know.
Yeah. So, it's nice to make friends early on so that you're not lost. And it doesn't mean... I got some advice from one of my teachers that just because you befriend these people doesn't mean that they will be like your BFFs forever for life.
Yeah.
That's just like a nice way to feel like, okay, I'm not lonely. I know, like, you know, if after some class and I want to go eat lunch, I have someone who can accompany me for lunch.
Right.
You
I
know?
guess now that you mentioned that, I was kind of worried for a bit because you kept on talking about, oh yeah, I met these Yale people, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, yes, I am antisocial, and even if that happened, I probably wouldn't partake.
Yeah.
But I was getting a bit worried and thinking, oh my goodness, I'm gonna be so lonely, I have no friends. And then all of a sudden on the Theater Warwick Instagram, I saw that they put up this thing that said, DM us if you are, you know, an offer holder for this upcoming year.
And you did too?
I did.
Yay!
Of course I didn't say anything when I entered.
Okay.
But yeah, some people like requested to follow me on Instagram, so it was nice to somewhat, at least I know some faces and names. And it was nice to see that one or two people were in the same sort of open day interview day as I was in. And so I already have a screenshot of them on my phone. Yes.
Yeah, so because once you get in, the thing is like I feel like people forget that in the end it's a school.
Yeah.
And so you need to make friends. Like it's unlikely that even if your friend goes to the same school as you, you might be taking a different major. So, you know, knowing people is important, and networking and just getting to know so you don't feel scared and alone.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay, other stuff. So that's pretty much like what we had to do in terms of uni after getting accepted, or mostly accepted.
Yeah.
But in terms of actually preparing to go to uni as a human,
traveling. Adulting.
Like, what did you have to do to prepare to adult and be alone without your mummy?
Okay, so in my case, in terms of finances and like bank accounts and stuff, like I realized I can't really make any bank account from here. We do it there, so I can't really do anything for now about that.
Yeah.
In terms of like laundry and cleaning, Lebaran was like such a perfect time to practice because especially because when you like clean your bedroom and you clean your bathroom too, you know, you're kind of like, okay, I think I got a hand of this. Especially, you know, university dorms are likely quite cozy. Like not small, but they're not like
small.
Kind of small.
Yeah.
And so you figure, okay, if I can clean up my whole house that has like, you know, more than just one bathroom and one bedroom, then I can manage this, you know?
Yeah.
And like as I practiced throughout the Lebaran holiday, I was like, okay, I'm getting a hand into this. I know how to do this in a quick way.
Yeah.
Like vacuum. I learned how to vacuum.
Vacuuming is so fun.
It is.
That's my favorite thing, but then I get very into all the details. I like to vacuum my walls. It's really weird.
It's so strange.
Yeah, because I feel that there's dust on it.
Yeah. And like, okay, in terms of laundry, I guess here's the thing. Like, it's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah,
You just
kind
throw
of
it in,
put it in.
spin it.
My mummy said you should find stuff that can go in a dryer though. So that you don't need to air dry it. It's gonna take a long time.
That's true.
And also if you have nowhere to really air dry it, that's odd.
It's awkward.
You don't want to
Especially
air
if
dry your undies outside your dorm window.
That's such an Asian thing. But yeah, so with that in mind, I also had to kind of make a list of things that I want to buy from here to bring to there.
I should probably do that.
Like towels or like bed sheets or something. And like,
why not buy it there?
Because like from here you already wash it, you know.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right? And I
Yeah.
also had to figure out like, okay, what clothes should I bring? Because, you know, I can't bring everything dry clean because then that's so too expensive. Like, you know. And
Yeah.
so I need to be self-conscious of that and just like figuring out like, oh, okay, what backpack should I be using? What should I bring any notebooks from here?
Oh no, she's ahead of me.
Blah.
It's okay, I've been working on a documentary and other stuff.
Yeah, and then like even trying to think about, okay, how do I want to decorate my dorm? Do I want to bring photographs of
Panic.
me and my friends from here?
Ugh.
And like fairy lights and stuff. So yeah,
Oh my
I'm thinking
goodness.
about lots of those
I
things.
can't imagine you with fairy lights around your door.
But like I can't think of any other
It's
way.
too basic for you.
I guess so. So yeah, and other than that, I still need to learn how to drive. You have learned how to drive.
Yes. I'm just a scaredy cat. It's like I can't go out of my comfort area, out of this area of wherever I live.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like your complex.
Not my complex. I can go out until around the
Your
mall and
town.
everything. My town, my little
Your
town.
little town.
Yeah.
And like, okay, in terms of cooking, I
Can you cook?
Of course I can. I took food tech classes.
That doesn't mean you can cook. That means you can read a recipe.
That's true. No, okay, but here's the thing. Like over there, we already have like meal plans.
Okay.
So like, I don't need to cook.
Because mine is self-catered. But it's okay, I like cooking, so it's fine.
Okay.
I just don't like cleaning, so hopefully there's a
Alright.
what's it called? A washing machine thing for the dishes.
Yeah.
Dishwasher.
Dishwasher.
Why did
There
my
should
I
be.
can't even think.
For us,
Okay.
like we just have dining hall, so we just go down and eat there.
Mhm.
So it's nice. One less
Lovely.
thing to do for me. So yeah.
Yeah, but I do want to learn how to cook Indonesian food because why are you looking at me like that?
Okay. Like
No.
what sort of Indonesian food?
I mean, there's this like tahu thing that my maid makes that's so good, and I just
Okay.
want to know. So now, obviously, I'm not gonna spend hours and hours making rendang at my dorm because I don't have that kind of time to
Yeah.
braise the meat or whatever.
Yeah.
But I want to learn how to make some Indonesian food so that I can feel comforted and feel the spices, the herbs, you know.
Yeah, I'm good with egg fried rice.
Yes, of course you are.
No, because like here's the thing, like the Asian food that I do like dumplings and like dim sum, that's
Dumplings.
hard to make. Therefore,
It's okay, but you can get that kind of
in
anywhere.
Chinatown.
Yeah, at least Chinese cuisine is more,
Yeah, it's
even
everywhere.
more known than Indonesian.
That's true.
Anyway, yes. So
Yes.
in terms of actually adulting on my end, yes, I can drive, I can cook,
Can you clean?
I can clean. I just don't like to do iron. I can't iron. I
Yeah.
mean, I can.
It's
I just don't
easy.
want to.
It's just annoying. Yeah.
No, so then I said, Mom, I'm gonna be bougie and want a steamer. But then I'm also scared because
It's so hot, you know?
no,
like, it's
yeah,
just
because
hanging.
the thing is, in the States and in the UK, there are fire alarms everywhere, right?
Oh, yeah.
Unlike in Indonesia.
Yeah.
So then I'm scared that I'm steaming and then all of a sudden my entire dorm is gonna think that it's on fire when it's just the smoke from my steam. And of course, there's a different sort of, you know, chemicals in it that
Yeah.
will set it off or
For
not.
sure, for
But
sure.
I just get paranoid about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I might have to do it in the bathroom and
Wow.
lock all the steam in there.
Oh my. Okay.
I don't know, so that's my plan currently.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically the point is that I just have to not be lazy because actually being able to do it isn't the hard part. It's just having the motivation to do it, especially when you're swamped with work and other extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to make it somewhat a priority.
I mean, like, I guess, like, I've been, like, as, in addition to, like, this adulting thing, I've also been trying, like, different things myself, like, just to prepare for, like, the semesters ahead.
Mhm.
So I've been doing is, like, trying to bullet journal. And, like,
Wonderful.
try to see, like, if it works out for me. And kind of try to think of, like, a sort of schedule.
Mhm.
Because in the US, like, we have to choose classes, right? And it's not like the UK where there are certain modules that you have to take, like, your first
Yeah.
year. In the US, it's just kind of, it's your game. So I'm already starting to, like, think, like, okay, let's say if I have classes from, like, this time to this time, then what do I do for the rest of the time? Because I realize in college there's so much free time.
Yeah.
Like, of course.
I think I'll figure it out then, because I get too much anxiety if I think about it now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
but I am definitely a bullet pointer. I mean, my note section is just filled with homework, this day, hours, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I just like to be organized like that, even though I don't always listen to it or stay within the time constraints I put for.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Like, in addition to all these official stuffs, there's also this really important thing called making your visa. Applying for your visa.
What is that? No, just kidding.
And like, oh my gosh.
My passport is expired. I should probably figure that out.
Exactly. Okay, so there you go. So when you apply for your visa, here's the thing. I know in Indonesia there are some times when like your passport name doesn't match your birth certificate name, which it did for me. Like somehow it didn't show my surname in my passport.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, your university looks at your passport as like its documentation for your name and stuff, right? So I remember I had to like renew my passport and like make sure that they put my full birth certificate name on there. So important. Please, even as you're applying to university and you realize, oh, my passport name is different, please just renew it. Number 2, when you apply for your visa thing, for the US, you get like this document called the I-20, and like this year they emailed it to us. Usually it's they mail it, and because of COVID, yeah, just email.
Yeah.
And honestly, as soon as you get it, just start working on your visa application, because oh my god, I was so surprised. Like the appointments fill up really fast, like the interview appointments. So you really need to move fast.
Yeah.
There's just so much that needs to be done, and making sure that not only do you still stay accepted in university by like maintain your grades, but you also need to do all these other things. But it's good practice, because when you're there, you need to maintain your own documentation. You need to make sure that you don't lose stuff, blah blah. You know, you're not making your own visa because your mommy's doing it, are you?
I'm not doing it myself, I think, but we haven't started because we're
Oh,
all
yeah,
too busy right now. And the thing is, UK is still further away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be like that. There's lots of stuff, guys. Getting accepted.
Hearing Victoria is kind of stressing me out. But guys, don't be stressed. It's fine. I'll be fine too.
We're all gonna be fine.
Yes.
Like, I also have had like mini breakdowns, like, oh my god, there's so much to do, oh my god, you know? Because you think you're in, yay! But no.
But it's not like that.
There's more stuff to do.
All
Life
this
goes
trickery.
on. Exactly. So we hope that this has not scared you off. It's just a matter of a transition in life.
And we're just sharing that we are also experiencing breakdowns, and we are also kind of unsure and stressed and overwhelmed. But at the same time, we're so happy and excited.
Yeah.
And we're so lucky to have been accepted at our dream universities.
Yeah. So we hope that it all turns out well for you guys. And I guess like that's why, especially during this time, it's been so crucial to stay in touch with friends from high school.
Yeah.
Because even though you network with people who also got accepted, like, it's still starting fresh, right? So you still want to keep in touch with people who you know well.
And the thing is, your high school friends are from your country, so
so
especially if you want to come back, and you should come back to your country, especially if it's a developing one, to develop the country, then you have those connections and that network still available to you, I guess. Yeah, so of course our experience is from a pandemic sort of perspective, because we did apply to uni during a pandemic, and it is still a pandemic currently.
But it's okay.
But I guess like this can also, some of the things we mentioned are still applicable to people who might not be applying to uni in a pandemic in the future, hopefully.
Hopefully. Because I heard from some universities that they might be continuing this idea of like, online presentations, because it's just more accessible to people.
Yeah, that's good.
So take advantage of it.
Yes.
Research. Be aware. Take initiative. All that sort of thing.
Well, I guess that's all from us for this topic. I
Don't
hope
be
it was
scared.
beneficial.
But be scared.
Oh my goodness, Victoria. Anyway, we are...
Two Tweedledums Thinking. And that seems contradictory to what Tweedledums are.
It does.
But honestly, we are outliers.
We are.
Those were our thoughts for today, and we hope we got you thinking. Not too much though, otherwise you won't listen to us anymore.
That's true.
My name is Victoria.
And my name is Talya.
And this is Two Tweedledums Thinking.
See you Tweedledees next time.
Bye!